Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. On this week's episode, Zack, Jacob, and I kick off the new year by discussing what we and the listeners resolve for the year 2025. In news, there sure is a lot of Switch 2 info floating around that isn't coming from Nintendo. As for new games, Zack played a Western title called The Legend of Cyber Cowboy, and I checked out a food truck simulator game called Monster Meals. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, facebook.com/groups/thegocast, and even a Discord server. There's a link in the show notes for this very episode. It is Tuesday, January 14th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson. How you doing, sir?
Jesus Christ be praised. That's a Kingdom Come joke.
Okay.
You gotta play the game to understand.
I was going to say, did you convert? What was going on here?
I would say 80% of the time when you say hello to somebody in Kingdom Come Deliverance, they respond with, Jesus Christ be praised.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Also joining us, Mr. Jacob Gunderson. How you doing, sir?
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I am excited to hear about what Jacob has been playing.
No.
You guys will find out shortly. I'm so excited. But
You're not gonna like it.
If you heard our intro, I said it was just Zack, Jake, and I. I actually pre-recorded that before I realized that Alyssa actually was going to be able to make it today. So, Alyssa, you are here. How are you?
I'm okay. Surprise, everybody. I'm here.
We are so happy that you're here. This is amazing. So excited. It's we're kind of back to the normal groove of episodes. We're after that 2-week break. We did our Game of the Year episode, which was epically long, 3 hours. Had a really good time, and I'm really looking forward to getting into talking about some New Year's resolutions.
And some Switch news, apparently, according to your intro, even though there's no Switch news there on this format.
No, but I knew it was going to come up. I knew we were going to talk about it. So
there's nothing to talk. By the time this hits the podcast feeds, Nintendo will have actually talked about the console.
I hope so, because everybody else seems to be talking about it, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So before we do, let's talk about some of the games we've been catching up on. Alyssa, you been playing anything?
I did actually beat Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and that was a fantastic game. Loved every second of it.
Does that not go to some fun places?
It does.
Oh, man. The mystery is so cool in that game.
Seeing Tony Todd and then, him passing away, it's very bittersweet, but everything about that game was amazing. It felt like being in an Indiana Jones film, and I didn't really feel any clunkiness.
It's clunk-free.
I tried to find clunkiness after Grant mentioned that, and I'm like, I can't find the clunk.
I was going to say, Grant, are you listening?
I mean,
no.
So I did not find the
Probably
clunk,
not.
Grant, if you are listening.
Clunkless.
I have to go back to that game, but I have such a stack of games I want to play right now. We've got some things cooking in terms of Patreon. We're going to be making some changes in Patreon here in the coming, good changes, and really excited to share with all of you what that's going to entail. But anything else you've been playing besides that, Alyssa?
Nothing that I can speak about at the moment.
Oh, look at you pulling the, I've got a game, but I can't talk about it.
It's under embargo.
Well, that card.
It's no big deal.
It's no big deal, but well, I guess tune in next week, or
It might be the week after.
Okay. Wow, you got an early copy of something.
Wow.
Do I know what that is?
I put it on the form.
Okay.
But I did the work with the getting it. So
look at Alyssa taking the reins and getting her own review copies. I love it.
Is it Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? I'm going to be so disappointed if you're playing
No,
it
it's
for
not.
me.
No,
I guess you couldn't
I
tell
would
me
not
if it
take that
was.
from you.
I'm playing that, Zack. It's fantastic. You
Oh,
should,
yeah?
Yeah. No,
Oh, man. hurts to hear.
Okay. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I just found out that Jacob bought a game that he's been poo-pooing to me, and I want to hear his reaction to it. So, Jacob, what have you been playing?
Dragon's Dogma 2. Great game. Got a couple of things going on. I've been roaming around. I think I've put about 55 hours into it now. I should do the main storyline and finish the game off and move on to other things that are more important than Balatro.
Well, okay. I know I wanted to hear about Balatro, but I got to ask you one question about Dragon's Dogma 2, because One of the things that I keep seeing people like posting clips of in that game is like you're just kind of walking along, tootling along, and then like a dragon or something just kind of swoops in and destroys your cart just randomly out of nowhere. You don't even know they're coming. Yeah, is that happening? People can't hear your nodding.
They, we are live. They can see my nodding. So
the audio, but the audio,
The
listeners
audio
whatever.
audience
the
can't.
majority.
Be quiet. Anyway, so yes, as you're walking through the world, there's usually griffins or something in the air that are ever looming and will cast shadows on you, and you don't know if they're going to be there or not. I have died several times just because there are aerial trolleys that take you through a rail system that's on the air, and you kind of have to crank your way on these rails to get to the other stop. And they're that was
I get it
terrible.
now.
No, you didn't need to do that. Anyway, so I have died quite a few times because there's nowhere to go when you're on these trolleys, and when the griffin swoops down to kill you, it destroys the trolley, and then you fall to your death. So you're kind of ever looking at the sky to make sure that there's nothing that's going to be extra in your
Can you
battles.
not hear them coming? Like, I mean, no, they're not planes, but I mean,
There's usually like a noise, like a caw or something before they come, but usually that's it's like 3 seconds before they land.
Good
Oh.
impression. Good
So-
impression, Scott.
thank you. I've
That was
been
a good bird.
practicing my Griffin impressions.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's not a lot of warning time before they land. So
So, I mean, is there anything you can do? Like, can you like hit the deck, or are you just going to spill out if they hit that trolley thing?
oh no, there's it's only about a 5x5 little area, and
Mhm.
he hits you because he's diving for you, and he hits you and he destroys the platform that you're on, and you just fall to your death. But if you're I have been fighting with cyclopses and been attacked by them, and so now there's just an extra giant enemy. When you're fighting one of the bigger enemies in games, there are a life bar that appears at the top of the screen, and then it tells you how many extra life bars that enemy has, and the game will get confused and forget which enemy you're supposed to be fighting and show you both or one at a time, but you don't know who you're fighting. So you're kind of like trying to figure out. Cyclopses have 1 bar of extra HP and griffins have 4, I think. And so if you're trying to ignore the griffin and it's only showing you your griffin, you don't know how much damage you're actually doing to the cyclops. You know what you're supposed to be doing, but you don't know like how far or how much more you have to do. So it kind of gets a little confusing. But yeah, now there's not one giant enemy, now there's 2. And it gets worse if you're fighting a dragon, because the dragons talk to you and they cast spells at you and do a bunch of crazy nonsense, and it just makes the battlefield very chaotic, especially if there's not a dodge button on any of the classes except the roguelike character. And if you get caught by one, you will probably get caught by another. And so once you're on the ground, you're probably going to be hit 3 or 4 more times, and it kind of sucks. But you just have to be aware of your surroundings and take every battle seriously.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, please,
Zach,
tell
what have
us-
you been playing?
Balatro. Has anyone else been playing it?
Well, yeah, I was playing it
Yeah.
right before I got on.
Okay, fine. Yes, I've been playing Balatro.
And
It's a good game, but it's just I feel like it's just another game. If Game of the Year wants to stay as a popularity contest, yeah, that game made it to the Game of the Year status. But the Game of the Year should not be about that kind of game, and there's no reason for this game to have even made it to the Game of the Year. Yeah, it's fun, but it's not, and it's addictive gameplay because it's fun. It's got the lights, it's got the jokers and all that stuff, and bright little colors and numbers in your face. But other than that, there's not a story to it. There's no interaction. There's no character development. There's nothing. It's just you playing cards. Whereas there's one game out there that got beat out for Game of the Year, and Balatro took its spot, and that's bad.
I don't think that's accurate.
yeah, Astrobot won Game of the Year, man.
Mhm.
That's fine, but
He's talking about nomination, but even
Right.
then,
Oh, I
mean-
see what you're saying.
I mean,
Right.
Black Myth Wukong was on that list, and it sure didn't belong. Like,
In terms of popularity, you mean, or I didn't play it.
I mean, it was only there because it was popular.
Right.
Well, so
Yeah.
was a lot of the other games.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
So-
Black Myth Wukong was the lowest Metacritic rated Game of the Year nominee ever. Fun fact.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. It's cool to know.
Well, I was hoping for.
Anyway, Belcho rules and is probably a timeless game on the level of Tetris, where it's just going to be one of those things people can play for years to come.
Well, Tetris is one thing. There hasn't been, I mean, there probably has been a million redone Tetris games, but
Sure.
with Balatro, I feel like it's a dime a dozen with those style of games. Like Bingo Bingo is like another game we've all played, but the same guy doesn't make that game, but it was made on the coattails of it and looks the exact same. Just the same way that there's been.
Huh.
Well, Bingo Bingo is a roulette game, to be clear.
But
It's the same kind of thing, but instead of making poker hands, you're spinning a roulette wheel.
well, I view it as no different as the Minecraft knockoffs that came after Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
This guy had an idea to make a roguelike deck builder with poker, and a bunch of other people took different gambling games and made the exact same game out of it.
Yep. I played a blackjack one. There's a slot machine one that,
I think Jake is just bitter.
Did you go into this game not wanting to like it, Jacob?
No, I give every game a fair chance. It's just I knew what I was getting into when I started playing Balatro.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way that I was doing when I was playing Bingo Bingo. I played that one for probably 10 hours and then I put it down and I don't need to play it again. There's nothing else more to it.
I hope you play it long enough to get that one run where it's like, oh, because
It sounds like he's playing it with his arms crossed, waiting to be impressed.
I've won 4 games so far.
Mhm.
I've won with the red, the blue, the yellow, and the green decks. And my son is also playing it, and he's talking about other decks, and so I'm trying to unlock those decks as well.
Mhm.
But other than that, I just there's different challenges, but yeah, it's all what like randomized basically is the best way for it. And so you're just beating your head against the wall until you finally get the one run that feels really, really good.
Mhm.
And I don't like that style of game. I guess I actually like to feel that I'm actually progressing in the game that I'm playing.
I get you. I mean, you do start over each time, but you've got more jokers available to you, which actually you could argue makes the random nature even more because
Yes.
you're going to have less a chance of getting the jokers that you want. But you're going to learn strategies the more you do it. I mean, I've started playing more with the order of my jokers at the top. I learned the hard way that makes a bigger difference than I realized it did.
Yes,
And I
it
wish I
does.
would have learned that lesson a lot earlier, but I'm still enjoying it. So didn't make a whole lot of progress this week, but it's definitely something I pick up and play when I got a few minutes.
Even the order that you play your cards in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like
takes
you rearrange them in your hand first before you actually play them. Yep. I did get that, but I don't know why it didn't register that I needed to order the jokers. I mean, if there was an obvious one like, this one does this to the joker to its right or something like that, but
I was playing with the
clowns
joker.
to the left.
and jokers to the right, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good, Zach. That was a good one. But no,
Here I am stuck in the middle of you guys.
Top left corner. But I digress. No, I was playing last night and I got a joker that kills the joker when you choose which enemy to fight to its right, and then it doubles its cell value and adds it to its multiplier.
Mhm.
And I got that up to I think like 60, 70 something, and I was on some tangent beating the hell out of these guys and whatnot, and then it just multiplied to a number that I just, even with my best hands, could not reach.
Mhm.
I think I played 4 600,000 chip hands back to back to back and couldn't reach it. And like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be exponentially better than I was the last game, but it wasn't happening. So
It's a lot of luck at the draw for sure. Zach, what have you been catching up on?
Well, I finally finished Kingdom Come Deliverance just in time
Yeah.
for the sequel. Get a little break for the sequel. Something like 70 hours in this game.
Wow.
That's what it
Wow.
took. Pretty beefy boy. But loved it. The finale was really cool because like stuff was kind of heating up with like sort of the political war stuff. But what was neat about it is your character kind of disappears in the background because it's like all up to the lords and generals, and you're just like a dude. And that felt cool. That felt unusually realistic to a story.
Mhm.
Like Henry, your main character had like one good idea for the battle, and that didn't even go that well, honestly. But it just felt nice that your character kind of receded in the background, which is where he would be at that time. He wasn't like the hero. But yeah, finished up. Good ending spot. Love it. One of the best RPGs I've ever played.
Wow.
Can't wait to play the sequel.
When does that release? That's soon?
February 4th, man. I got the collector's edition pre-ordered.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
You are excited about it.
Oh, yeah, man.
Well, I did not beat Skyrim.
as it is unbeatable.
Apparently, I'm going to try to prove that wrong this year, but I made a little bit of progress. I don't know if you remember last time I was talking about it. I had the decision whether or not I was going to become a vampire. I decided to go back to a save and not become a vampire because that seemed very stressful and it felt different from the path I was taking. So I went back and told that guy where to stick it, and I'm not welcome back in his place anymore. And if I ever do set foot, they're going to attack me. So then I went and just kind of did some side quests over. I'm now part of the Thieves Guild. You remember where that is, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is Jacob laughing?
I don't know.
Because he bummed around Skyrim for a little bit.
No.
That's what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Here's the thing: is like I remember when I played Skyrim back at launch, it just felt insanely massive to me, and the world doesn't seem nearly as big as like compared to some modern day open world games. I don't know. I'm not as overwhelmed as like when I opened up Witcher 3, excuse me. So I feel like there's a lot to do clearly, and I can just kind of go at my own pace, and that's what I'm enjoying with this game is just kind of doing what I want to when I want to, and I'm up to level 50 sneak already. Like
just following people around.
Oh, dude, is it? Can you like? I read somewhere that you can like take a rubber band and just make yourself spin in a circle, and leave it overnight, and then have your sneak like all the way up. Does that really work?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. I think I'm going to earn it, but
I like how you say you earn it, but you're still definitely cheating it. You're just definitely
dude. I'm crawling everywhere, dude. That is not fun.
That does not feel like a natural way to level up the snap.
I mean, it beats the hell out of in Oblivion. They had acrobatics still, and so you were jumping everywhere you went.
Oh yeah,
your character was constantly jumping down the roads to train acrobatics, so you could jump like an inch higher every level.
My favorite part is I'm like at level 16, and I just heard. Well, I used to be an adventurer like you, but I took an arrow to the knee.
Oh yeah.
I've only heard it once. I always like was under the impression that like every guard said that to you, but the one I keep hearing because I'm sneaking everywhere is this guy says,
"Sneak thief,
you're a terrible sneaker. Or, you're terrible at sneaking. I can see you." Like, yeah, I'm walking through town sneaking. Like, anyway, so that's all I've been really catching up on, and looking forward to. Well, you'll hear it in my New Year's resolutions when we get there. But let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. This is going to take some getting used to, man. I'm not used to producing while I'm doing this on the fly. This is crazy. One new trailer I wanted to mention that dropped this week. We got a trailer for House of the Dead 2 remake coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC sometime this spring. I think that's hilarious because I was excited about the last one and I never played it. Then they just did the second one as well. Assassin's Creed Shadow is delayed yet again. Sony has updates on its many film and TV projects. Square Enix is taking steps to protect its employees. Hideo Kojima is finding it very hard to stay, quote, creative. And also there's been some interesting canceling of certain Metroid Prime 4 products on Amazon. And then, Switch 2 stuff happened that was not announced by Nintendo. Jacob, let's start with you, man. What do you want to talk about?
The Square Enix takes steps to protect its employees. I kind of scrolled past it when I was adding news to it, and I didn't read it at first. But you're gonna make me read that whole thing.
Would you like me to read it, Jacob?
I can read it, but I don't know if we need to. It's legal jargon.
If you'd like to paraphrase, that's fine. It's your story. You do it however you would like to, sir.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of things in here that Square Enix will not tolerate. And it involves a lot of harassment that's been coming out recently from customers to employees of everyone that's around in Square Enix. Now, the last couple of years, we have customers, video gamers. That's us. We are the customers. Have been bullying developers. We have. There's been people on a lot of social media sites and whatnot that, if they don't like how a game is going or think a game is taking too long, they lash out and say some pretty mean things to a lot of different people. That whoever they can reach is who they usually say it to. The developers of No Man's Sky got death threats and a lot of different types of harassment things that were going on social media because No Man's Sky wasn't ready to come out yet and was delayed, and this, and so they ended up releasing the game a year early, and it did not do as well as they had hoped. And then I think that's why they have put so much work into it. But a year later, they made the game better. But we really shouldn't be doing this as a community of gamers. We want these people to make a game, the best game that they can make. And by rushing these people and by making them, work under the gun and all this kind of stuff, we restrict them from doing the things that will only help us in the long run. And so this is ridiculous that a developer has to go to these links to
Publisher.
Publisher. Well, publisher. To go to these links to remind people that this stuff isn't okay, and it's not going to be. It's going to be dealt with responsibly.
It's sad that it has to be said
because it shouldn't need to be.
I truly don't understand that. There are games that I can't wait for them to come out, but at the same time, I am so overwhelmed with how much games that are coming out. If a game that I'm looking forward to gets delayed, I'm like, all right, no worries. You know what I mean? Like, am I alone in that?
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, are there people that are only playing, 2 or 3 games a year, maybe? That's not me, right?
Right. I was gonna say we're kind of special circumstances. We have so many games that we're looking at and wanting to do different things and having to play and wanting to play and whatnot. But I mean, the average person only plays, I think it was like 5 to 6 games a year, like something like that. Like it's not a lot. And so when you're looking at these people going, oh, I can't wait to play this game, that's what they're focused on. That's the only thing that they're focused on. They're only waiting for that one game to come out. They're not looking at any other games coming out.
Right.
There's not a horizon of games that they're staring at going, oh man, this one got delayed. Oh, that's great. I can play something else. No, they're focused on that one game. And it kind of, I get it. It sucks. But at the same time, like there's a reason why there was a delay. There's a reason why it was pushed back. Just like with the other story that we've got.
Alyssa, you got anything you want to add?
Not really, no.
Zach?
Yeah, I mean, it's rotten out there, so I'm glad somebody's doing something, because it's just the way dialogue is going in every corner of the internet is pretty inexcusable. And it just seems like, I don't know. I feel like slurs are making a real comeback on Twitter, for instance.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's I mean, just why, like, and it's just like widely accepted. It's very weird out there right now. So yeah, protect your employees, and I'm happy that they're willing to take a financial, hit. Like if there's some big FF14 player and they're being dickheads, that they'll just be like, well, I guess we just won't take your money anymore and just cut them off. I think that's cool. That's putting your employees before your bottom line. That's nice to see.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where stuff like that works on occasion. What's the Suicide Squad? Was it the Suicide Squad movie that got the
Justice League, the Snyder Cut?
Justice League. That's one. Yeah.
Well, those people deserve that movie. Okay, that movie's great.
I'm just saying, like,
even with Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one, like look at
that was another good one.
Yeah.
Right. So
But,
yeah,
well, I don't feel like Sonic. I don't think anybody was like, "I'm
yes.
gonna kill your
No,
family."
probably not that, but
Yeah,
I mean, there's a constructive way to do it, and then there's not a constructive way.
right.
And
Even
more often than not, you're going to get the non-constructive way.
even the Snyder cut seems like such a simpler time now compared to where we're at.
Yeah.
Like it just seems almost quaint. Like they were buying like banners to put on the back of planes, and like sure, some people were insane, no doubt, but it just feels like now people just go straight to the insanity.
Yeah.
Like, can you give an example without on a G-rated podcast? Or?
No, not on a G-rated podcast.
No.
Or look at the way look at the way Laura Bailey talked about The Last of Us Part 2 and how people were threatening her kid's life.
Yeah.
In that documentary that came out last year, like that's one example.
Or what was the this is not a game, but was it Kelly Tran from Star Wars?
Oh yeah, Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she did a fine job. Like her arc of the story, arguably that whole visit to the Casino Planet or whatever kind of was a waste of time.
I mean, through failure our greatest lessons are learned, but continue.
Well, I'm just saying there was that wasn't her fault, and she did a fine job. I never understood the hatred for that character or her performance. She was lovely.
Yeah.
All right, Alyssa, what story would you like to talk about?
We'll talk about Sony and its updates on its mini film and TV projects.
It's came out of CES, right?
Right. Yeah, it feels like a weird place for it, but yeah.
First up, we've got Ghost of Tsushima, an anime, coming in 2027 exclusively to Crunchyroll. So for all the anime nerds out there, we're happy about that.
I'm going to have to get Crunchyroll, aren't I?
Yeah, it's worth it if you're into anime. Helldivers is getting a movie.
Starship Troopers 3?
Yeah, it's very weird.
That'd be
Yes, that's what it's going to be.
Which is fine. I mean, the last one or the first one was 97? So I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So I guess this is basically doing an unofficial remake of Starship Troopers.
Pretty much.
There were so many Starship Trooper memes when Helldivers was released. It was insane. And it's it looks the same. Come on. Sorry.
The Until Dawn movie will be out in April, and it features a new story and cast, which is interesting.
Trailer dropped that today, didn't it? I didn't see it, but
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, so they're using the choice stuff in the movie, where it looks like the movie shifts genres and decisions. So it almost looked like Groundhog Day, but horror, and every reset kind of changed what kind of horror story it was.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, watch this trailer.
Yeah, which is a pretty unique take. They they definitely didn't need the Until Dawn branding for that, but it's the age we live in.
Isn't Peter Stormare in there too? How do you say it?
I think it's Stormare.
Stormare.
Yeah. He's going to be playing the guy that he played. I don't remember the character's name.
I can't remember either. Horizon will be a movie now, and it will cover Aloy's origin.
The iconic origin story of
it went from
Aloy.
being a TV show to a movie.
I know Zach is going to be happier that that's a shorter viewing experience.
I'll check it out. Yeah, you know what? If they could shorten down that story to about 2 hours, it might even be bearable.
Well, if it's like a Scorsese length movie, 3 hours and 45 minutes of Aloy.
Of robot dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I could do robot dinosaurs. I don't know if I could do Aloy.
Define do.
Yes.
Oh, Scott.
In that
PG.
case, reverse.
I thought that way.
Reverse what
I
he
thought
said.
that same thing. I was just trying to be
Robot dinosaur, Aloy. I'm going with the robot dinosaur. Getting a little concerned, Jacob.
I'll take a redhead in any scenario.
Yeah, right. Anyway, Alyssa, go ahead.
The Last of Us Season 2 will be hitting HBO in April, which I am looking forward to that very much.
There's one specific reason I'm looking forward to that, despite the fact that I love the first season and I love that series, is all the people that only watch the series and haven't played the game and how pissed off they're going to be.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
In that first episode.
Why? What happens?
Have you not played the games?
No, I know what happens.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to say just in case anybody is listening. But,
Paul Hine brings up a redheaded dinosaur, and yes,
I would say
Dinosaur.
wood.
And the last bit of movie TV news, Gravity Rush and The Legend of Zelda, which Sony is financing that film, were briefly acknowledged.
Yeah,
Briefly acknowledged.
I forgot they were doing a Gravity Rush movie,
I've
I
never
didn't
played
even realize
that
they
game.
were.
an anime movie. I think. Yeah. Although it is funny that Sony is the one who is going to have to talk about Zelda. It's pretty funny.
It is.
It's happening.
if it's a film, I need like 15 minutes of Zelda just in a room smashing pots.
You mean Link?
Or
In a room?
yes,
Yeah,
my bad.
Link.
Oh man, I can't.
Well, I guess you can say that now with Echoes of Wisdom, right?
No, that was a terrible mishap.
Well, I think
Shot.
with how trustworthy Sony's live action adaptations have been of such beloved properties as Kraven the Hunter and Madam Web, I think we got a lot to look forward to with The Legend of Zelda.
Morbius.
Did you see Kraven the Hunter?
No, I did not.
I heard good things actually.
I just assumed based on how rotten Morbius was and how unwatchable Madam Web is, that Kraven the Hunter would simply follow suit.
I've not seen any of those, and I'm not sure.
I have watched Morbius, and I actually had a fun time with my dad watching it just because of the cheesy aspects.
It's Morbin time.
It's
I'm
Morbin
happy.
time.
I'm happy
And then he
for you.
morbed all over the place.
Oh my
Right,
god.
and made him more $1 billion.
Oh, let's move on. Zach, what story do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I guess I will discuss the Assassin's Creed Shadow delay, yet another. This time it's getting pushed to March 20th. Ubisoft has said the additional development time will allow it to better incorporate the player feedback gathered over the past 3 months and help create the best conditions for launch by continuing to engage closely with the increasingly positive Assassin's Creed community. Not sure what websites they're visiting. Delay arrives alongside the information that Ubisoft has hired advisors to improve the company's disastrous financial state.
I read that statement and I hear we don't want to repeat Star Wars Outlaws.
Yes, and February was a tough time, and there's no world where Assassin's Creed Shadow wouldn't have been like the best-selling game of February, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't risk even anybody possibly saying like, no, I'm too busy playing Avowed and Kingdom Come, I'll save Assassin's Creed for later, or like, you know what, Monster Hunter is coming out in a couple weeks, I'll just save my money for that. They can't take that risk.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So they are pushing that. And Assassin's Creed is a huge name, and it's the setting everybody's wanted. So I'm sure this game will be big, but they need it to be like legendarily big.
They
right?
do.
They got nothing else going on at Ubisoft.
It's their Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I mean, this has got to be one of the most important moments of Ubisoft history. Is this game's release, right?
This is the Starfield
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
like
Except unlike Xbox, they don't. Ubisoft doesn't have another company to fall back on that's
Right.
worth a few $1 trillion.
exactly. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I want to play it.
Yeah, same here.
I didn't play the last one. I know CB did and really liked it, and I still haven't even been bothered to YouTube the ending of whatever the main story in that game is. That's how like fallen away. I mean, I played Origins and Odyssey, and there was another, and what was the last one?
Mirage,
I played a little bit of
Mirage.
Mirage. But there was one before that. The
Valhalla.
Valhalla.
Valhalla. Yeah, I played about 2 hours of Valhalla, and I heard people saying 140 hours, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
I'm out.
I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying so many good things about Shadows. If you play as a female character, it's got a big stealth focus, and you can like turn off lights, and and not everything is easily climbable apparently, and that's a big one for me because that really turned me away from Assassin's Creed is when they started just making everything easily climbable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just like it's too far gone. I wouldn't be able to play Shadows unless I played Valhalla first, and I'm just not going to play Valhalla.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not going to invest 100 hours because
was
I
a-
know it progresses the lore significantly from what I've heard. So I don't want to jump into Shadows unless I have that information.
Right. I mean, like you
So-
said, you could YouTube it.
No.
It feels dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel right. It doesn't feel earned.
Yeah. But you're right,
Especially-
though. I think part of the fun of the original Assassin's Creed games was like that almost puzzle of climbing the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
You
huge
know what I
part
mean?
for me. Yeah.
It just felt really cool finding like looping around and then finding this handhold and yeah, I really enjoyed that part, and they took that away and just climb where you want.
Yeah, just Spider-Man your way up. It's all good. Was that Origins? Is that where the big turning point was, where the climbing they just gave up? Or I guess Syndicate had the grappling hook, so that might have even been it.
Yeah.
Where they were just
Syndicate.
Yeah.
I forgot that game existed. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about, just because it's interesting to me. It wasn't one of the stories that Zack put together. By the way, Zack has been doing our news stories, putting them together for us. So thank you, Zack, for that.
Except for the sneaky Hideo Kojima story. I don't know who put that there.
Sorry.
No.
No, I wanted to talk about this Metroid Prime 4 deal because, Metroid, I think CB last year predicted that the game was just going to be indefinitely canceled, done, kaput. It wasn't even exist anymore. But since then, they've, released a new trailer. So we know it's coming out. But then, because if you remember when the game was announced back, what year? Was that 2017? 2018?
What couldn't have been? Yeah, 2018, I want to say. Like
2018, 2019?
It feels like early into the Switch life cycle, yeah.
Right. And that's when the game was announced, and they offered pre-orders on Amazon. I was one person that pre-ordered.
Is that right?
Yeah, dude, you know me in Metroid.
Right.
And
especially if it has metal.
Exactly. But they're canceling pre-orders of this, and there's been speculation that people are pulling a CB and saying, "Oh, they're just canceling the game altogether," which I don't think is accurate. That game looked
I don't either.
That looked pretty well baked in that last trailer. But after a conversation with Zack kind of brought to light that maybe this is going to be a Switch 2 launch game, and they had to get a new SKU, and maybe the price is going to go up to $70 or something like that. It's an interesting. I just found it interesting. It's news, but not news. But
it is interesting. But yeah, I think it is just to prime it for a Switch 2 listing.
I still feel like you should honor that price for those people that pre-ordered.
But why would they when they know you're just going to pre-order it?
Oh, it's just another $10 or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it's the PlayStation logic of what are people going to do? Say no?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That sucks.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I want to talk about the Switch 2, Zack.
All right. Okay. Sure, let's speculate about something we'll know about in 2 days.
No. It's not even speculation. It's like what happened. It's like everybody is talking about what the Switch 2 is besides Nintendo.
Right.
So the reports that I'm seeing are, we talked about CES already, but what's this name of this company? This third party?
Is it D brand?
No, it's another one. It's like Hein. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, I apologize. I can't. What is it?
I don't know.
They are a third party peripheral developer.
It's not Hyperkin, is it?
No. It's one I had never heard of before. So that shows how much I pay attention to.
I'm sure this is really fun to listen to.
Yeah. Anyway, they unveiled Switch 2 accessories at CES, which is weird for a console that hasn't even been announced. And they showed a video that showed magnetic Genki. Thank you, Paul. It's Genki is the I could not think of the name.
Professor Genki.
They showed the magnetic Joy-Cons, and they even went as far as bringing a prop Switch 2, like not a real one, obviously, but like a mock-up that they made to show how it fits in their peripherals. And apparently they were visited by Nintendo's lawyers, and I have no idea what took place, but
I hope it was brutal.
I hope so too, because man, they were even in the video were showing like
it's
a
brazen.
2 logo on the peripherals and stuff.
Idiots.
We don't even know if the thing is called Switch 2, but it seems kind of like that's what's gonna happen. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting story because what's it gonna take for Nintendo to just finally be like, okay, guys, here it is.
Well, I mean, they don't want to be bullied around by people who are their third-party people. Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird. It feels weird to let your supposed partners dick you around like that. But I don't know. It's also weird to these companies. Like, you don't have a business without them, so it's just weird to just be so flippant about your agreements.
Yeah, like who at the meeting said let's do this, and multiple people said yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, my only working theory is that these accessory makers invested a bunch of money into Switch 2 accessories, and they keep having to delay when they'll make money off of those things that they've invested in.
Yeah,
But either way, I mean, like, just settle down. You know,
Yeah.
they're gonna sell.
right.
It's not like the Switch 2 is going to be unpopular. Relax.
Well, here's the thing: is like that was one prediction that I considered for 2025 was that all of these rumors about the Switch that everybody like the motherboards and there was even someone holding one like at its side. You remember that?
Yeah.
Or like allegedly.
Uh-huh.
And my prediction was going to be that all of that was false, and whatever the Switch 2 was going to be something just completely unexpected. Part of me still hopes that a little bit, that because I love it when Nintendo just comes out and does something, and it would be just hilarious to me if this whole thing was a stunt of misdirection. You know what I mean?
And then they come out with the Super Nintendo,
Yes, the Nintendo cubed.
the Nintendo 72.
They already have one of those.
Just a few more digits.
Nintendo cubed.
The Nintendo GameCube. I
Dude,
see.
maybe it'll be the Nintendo Xbox 720.
Oh my
jeez.
goodness. Oh my
The
goodness.
Nintendo tetrahedron.
All right, well, moving on, I want to remind everybody before we get to the new games we've been playing that we are an independently funded podcast, and we really appreciate the support all of our patrons have given us to keep this show going. Believe it or not, running a podcast costs money. We got to pay for the website, we got to pay for the hosting, we got to pay for our recording software that we use to do this, to be able to stream it to now YouTube. Hello, YouTube people. And
Hi,
it all
Paul.
costs money. So we fund that through our Patreon. So if you are enjoying the show and you might like to throw a couple bucks our way, it really does help. None of us get paid for this. every money, every dime goes into the coffers and goes towards paying for the show. And we really would appreciate it. Right now, you can listen to some bonus episodes if you're a Patreon subscriber. We had our last Desert Island episode with Alan Sheck, the creator of Catastrophic Inversion, that awesome VR game we showcased at R2V2. Had a great conversation with him. And Zack did a Married to the Mic episode with his partner, which was a very fun listen. I thoroughly enjoyed that. We've got some new things cooking. I know Kevin and I promised to do some long RPGs, which would cross off some things off of my list. But we're also looking at doing some other types of episodes. We haven't done a legacy episode in a while. We haven't done a games that aren't for us. I want to kind of broaden out, and we do have something special cooking for Patreon that is going to involve the community a great deal. Not going to unveil what that is just yet, but stay tuned. It was actually Zach's idea, and we're going to involve the community on those, kind of like we do with the Desert Island episodes, but at a larger scale. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, if you'd like to help out and contribute to the show, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. We really would appreciate the support, and thank you, patrons, for your support. Now let's go ahead and move on to the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, what is coming up that I can ignore because my backlog is atrocious?
Well, you can ignore an old game easily with Donkey Kong Country Returns HD coming to Switch January 16th. Dread Out Remastered Collection horror games coming to PS5 and Switch January 16th. Brand new entry in Dynasty Warriors series with Dynasty Warriors Origins coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC January 17th. Tales of Grace's F Remastered comes to all consoles and PC January 17th. And Needy Streamer Overload comes to PS5 and PS4 January 21st. I believe the only truly new game on that list is Dynasty Warriors.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
it's a quiet time as before things heat up from February.
Yeah.
And then Wilds comes out, and then I'm just going to be booked.
Right, you'll be done. Now, if you did have to pick one game from the list, Scott, what would it be?
Oh my God.
Needy Streamer Overlord.
Yeah,
that sounds like a Scott game.
That's definitely a Jacob game. There's no doubt about it.
Here's the thing: the only two that like interest me even the slightest is Dynasty Warriors Origins and Donkey Kong Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. And I say that I recently picked up Tropical Freeze on Switch. It was on sale for like stupid cheap, and I'm like, I keep hearing really great things about that, so I picked it up. I played it for 45 minutes and never went back. So that, and then I also picked up Hyrule Warriors. Like there was like a pricing error where I got that game and all of the DLC for like $10 or something like that.
Wow.
He's good on it. He's good with his pricing errors. This guy.
I love pricing errors, man. I'm a sucker when a game is mispriced. Even if I don't want to play it, I just buy it. Yeah. But I played that again for a couple hours and got bored. So I feel like I'm gonna run into the same thing here. Although Dynasty Warriors Origins does look like they're doing some things differently, and I haven't played a proper Dynasty Warriors in years, so that would get my pick.
Understood. What about you, Alyssa?
I actually have 3 I'm interested in. Dread Out Remastered Collection. I'm a sucker for a good horror game, and it's got a Fatal Frame kind of mechanic to it where you take pictures of the ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks interesting. Tales of Graces F Remastered. I have enjoyed several of the Tales games in the past, and this just looked delightful in the trailer. And then Needy Streamer Overload.
Yeah.
It looks like my kind of game, and it also looks like it's something that is different than what it appears to be on the surface.
Okay.
Yeah, that game looks weird.
Is that
I like weird.
Is that the game that stands out for you, Jake?
No.
No.
Other than while watching the trailers for all these, I was most confused during that one. So
sure,
that was the reason why it stood out.
What game stands out to you on this list?
I'm going to be playing Dynasty Warriors Origins. I need a new Dynasty Warriors game. It's been a while. I stopped playing Dynasty Warriors games probably around 7 because they stopped using English voiceovers and started doing Chinese voiceovers, and it was extremely weird to be playing the game and all you heard was Chinese talking constantly, and it was driving me nuts. So I just stopped listening. I stopped playing it because I would play all the games because they had Extreme Legends, they had Empires, and then the original game, the namesake of it, and I would try every single one of them, and then they just started doing the Chinese voice overs, and I couldn't understand anything that was saying that was going on in the battlefield and all that kind of stuff, because you kind of want to, especially during Empires, you want to know if places are falling or things are getting taken over on your side, and they would say something in Chinese, and you'd look at the map and it would be glowing in an area, you wouldn't know what's going on. And so I just like this it's moved away from what I used to remember as a kid, like playing 3 and 2 and whatnot. So I stopped playing, but this one looks good. I watched the trailer for it. It was in English. I was pleasantly surprised.
That's a big selling point for Jake.
Happy to hear it. The only game on this list that really interests me is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. So I guess that wins by default. I like the original on Wii. So if I had to play one, it would be that. But no, I'm not going to play anything on this list.
Yeah.
Which,
my frustration with those games as I've gotten older is that I struggle not collecting everything in every level as I go.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get the KONG before you can move on.
Exactly.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And that's my fault. But yeah.
Well, you've been playing Monster Meals, Scott, on this Steam Deck. This looks like Diner Dash, but if you fail, you're the meal.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to say it. I was actually contacted directly by the developer of this game, and that is Giant Warrior Studio. And it is. It's a. We've all played those Diner Dash type games, right? Where you've got orders to fill and you have to collect ingredients and cook them. Think like Overcooked, those style of games. But in this one, you're in a food truck, and you are a monster in a food truck serving other monsters. And they come up and they sit at your table. They tell you what you want, and you have to go put the order together and manage it, much like you do other types of games. But like you said, if you are not quick enough to get their order to them, the monster will actually chase you down and eat you, which, he just barfs you back up, but it takes up valuable time. You have a time limit to get a certain number of stars.
Does that result in a domino effect of you just getting chewed up and spit out?
I never had one where I had more than one or two monsters at a time.
Oh, okay.
But once they eat you, it is like they like kind of disappear. They're done. But they also destroy that table. So you only have a certain number of tables in front of your food truck. So if they destroy the table, you can't serve. You don't have any place to serve it. But what's interesting is the ingredients that you have to get in order to make these meals. They obviously start out very simple. You know, you rattle a trash can and rats or scorpions pop out of it, and you melee attack them, and then you pick up the rat or the scorpion and whichever you need for whichever ingredient, and go into your food truck, cook that for whichever way it needs, bring it out, serve it, and then another customer lines up, rinse, repeat until the timer runs out, and hopefully you scored enough points to it's like the 3-star system. And then it slowly gets more and more crazy. Like even early on in the game, you have to serve a whole bird to a monster, and there are buzzards flying around you, and you have to chuck your weapon into the air to kill a turkey or whatever, or buzzard or whatever is flying out there, pick that up and cook it. You have to put that in the oven. You know, the rats have to get chopped up, and then they have to get fried in the pan. And then later on, you might have to add bread, and then you have to add condiments. So, you know, when each monster comes and sits down, you have to look and see which order of things you have to do, but you're managing everything all at the same time. And it gets very chaotic, very quickly. It is very much a time management game. And you know how I feel about time management. It stresses me out. But it's pretty easy to get through each stage. But as I just mentioned with Donkey Kong, I struggle moving on until I get 3 stars. There's 4 or 5 stages with 4 or 5 levels. I think there's 20 stages altogether. And my only wish is that they ramped up the difficulty just slightly less. Like I feel like it gets really chaotic really early. But it's a cute little game. It's very well put together. I haven't had any technical issues with it. The music is cute and charming. There are some customizable things that you could upgrade. You earn coins when you finish a day, but all of that is cosmetic. You can upgrade your food truck. You can upgrade the weapon that he carries. Like you start with like a fly swatter, I think, and you can upgrade it to some other things. Okay. You could upgrade what hat he wears. It's just goofy stuff like that doesn't really affect the gameplay. But like I said,
it sounds like a goofy little game, like in a positive way.
Yeah, it's just a goofy take on the whole concept, and I'm having fun with it. The game releases on the 17th of this month, so by the time you hear this episode, it will be either out or coming out the day after. And I'm playing it on Steam, by the way. It's not available on other platforms as of right now, but worth checking out if you like this style of game. I did have one hiccup. I said I didn't have any technical issues, and I don't know if this is a fault of mine. I'm playing on Steam Deck. One of the weapons I purchased, I got a cool sword. I wanted my monster to walk around with a really nice blade, and when I threw it to kill one of the birds, I was not able to pick it up. I don't know if that is a glitch in the game or if that is something I'm not understanding. But I just, not a problem. I just switched back to a different weapon, and no harm, no foul. So Monster Meals, again, playing it on Steam Deck and having a good time with it.
Yeah, sounds like a fun little thing.
Yeah. Zach, you have been playing, shocker, another cowboy game.
Uh-huh.
This one is called The Legend of Cyber Cowboy, which twin stick shooter, is that fair to say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, top-down twin stick shooter with a sci-fi Western aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
You play as a cyber cowboy. Surprise. And it's just a quick little 5-level game. 5 little bosses. Like if you were to play a run and not die, it would probably take you 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So super short, kind of throwback style of game. It is only $5, right? So it is pretty cheap, just in case anybody is aware. But yeah, the game itself is very simple, top-down shooting. It's helped a lot for me in the aesthetics, but the sprite work is very charming. It's very good sprites. Each level of the 5 has its own kind of vibe and enemy variety. It's got their own little subset of enemies, so it's got a little something to play through for you. And they each culminate in a boss battle. It's really hard to talk about a game so simple. Like, it feels deliberately kind of NES in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
or
not
arcadey even.
Yeah, or arcadey. I had some problems with it in that, like, it has a dodge button, but I never really understood how it was helpful in any way, because you can't dodge through bullets like you would with most dodges. Like, it doesn't take you through an enemy attack or anything.
Yeah.
And I swear, I'm sure this can't be the case, but it really felt like when I dodge, I was still taking damage. And so it just felt like it was just a quick way to replace yourself, at a different part of the map. But that doesn't feel super helpful in a game where enemies are kind of firing at you from all angles. It didn't feel like it was helping you that way. And I was expecting the NES standard thing where when you take a hit of damage, you kind of flicker for a little bit, and you kind of get a brief window to get back on your feet and assess what happened. But in this game, there's none of that. So if you get caught up in a hail of bullets, you don't really get a second to reset. You just lose most of your health real quick.
Oh, wow. So they're going for realism in this game.
I guess, when you're fighting a snake with a monocle and a top hat. But it's got decent amount of weapon variety that you can find, but because you're like earning coins as you destroy enemies, but you can only buy a weapon for the level you're on by finding the weaponsmith, and then if you run out of ammo, you just go back to your regular old pea shooter, and there's only one ammo refill per level. So it felt like there was no point in getting the weapon unless you were about to fight the boss.
Yeah,
you know
that makes sense.
Yeah, so it didn't feel like it was open to you trying out those weapons, which is kind of weird.
I see.
Yeah, so I don't know. It didn't have a very satisfying flow in that way, because what happens is it just means like 90% of the time you're just using your regular gun, your pistol, and then occasionally when a boss shows up, you're choosing one of the two weapons you have for that level to fight them with, but you don't really know how they work yet.
So can you toggle them? Like, once you pick them up, can you save it, or is it like you're?
So when you buy a new weapon, you have to burn through it before you go back to your regular gun.
So yeah, you just wouldn't want to pick up anything if you want to save it for the boss.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and I tried pressing every button. Maybe it got patched after I beat it. I don't know, but you could not switch your weapon at the time, and that was crazy. Because like you're saying, why would I? It means I have to use this good gun while I'm fighting these little guys. I don't know. It just doesn't. I want to save that, or I want to use that when I want to use it. You know what I mean? Like, utilize some strategy, I guess. I don't know. It just I kind of had a few annoyances that got in the way.
We use strategy,
right? Old fashioned.
And it doesn't look as pixelated as I would have. You mentioned NES style, but I guess it's more in gameplay than.
Yeah, I meant gameplay.
Yeah.
The pixel work, I think, is pretty.
And how about the cowboy action? Is that does it feel westerny?
It does. Yes, it feels suitably westerny. It gets less westerny as you go. It gets a little more sci-fi-y. But you're still rocking that cowboy hat the whole way. It's all good.
you get to change into a different cowboy hat?
No, you're just the Cyber Cowboy. This is his legend, Scott.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
His deep legend of I killed those 5 bosses that one time.
So you recommend it?
For $5, if you want like a day of fun, I could recommend it. But I don't think this is a game you need to play by any stretch.
Okay.
Yeah. So. No.
I like the price though. I mean, it looked. I love twin stick shooters though. Like.
Yeah. If you're like way into twin stick shooters, pick it up. It's so affordably priced at $5. If you want an easy platinum, all you really have to do is beat the game to get it.
You're playing on PlayStation. Is it on any other platforms? Do you know?
Yeah, it's on everything.
It's on everything. Okay.
PlayStation, both PlayStations, both Xboxes, Switch, PC.
Yeah, I haven't chased achievements in a while. Maybe I'll.
Yeah, dude, get a quick 1,000, beat this game. Yeah, it's just like so simple as get X amount of coins, kill X amount of enemies, beat the bosses. Here,
nice.
Have a platinum.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So maybe yes, recommend. Just know what you're getting into. Just know it's not going to be the best twin stick shooter you played,
Ever.
this year. Yeah.
I understand. All right, well,
It's
moving on.
One of the games of all times.
One of the games of all times.
It's true. Can't be denied.
Well, we went a week without talking about new members over on our Facebook community. We got quite a few this week. John Dobbs, Lorena Iba, Samantha Seibart, Stephen Lucas, and Ross Heggs. Welcome to the community. Over on Discord, again, there's a link in the show notes for this of this episode. Tainted, somebody that goes by the name Tainted, Skylar Honigford, and Murillo Jaspion. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Zach, could you read the website reviews for me?
Sure. We have an onslaught of recent reviews over at thegamingoutsider.com. Pinball FX Williams Pinball Volume 8 got a review from Scott. Zen Pinball World, also Scott. Surprise, real shocker there. So
A bunch of pinball games.
Yeah, Void
Jesus.
Rot review via Scott. Wild Bastards review from me. Shocker, a Western. Bro Nana got a review out of Paul.
From Paul.
There you go, Paul. Silent Hill 2 review. Scott wrote that as well. My Legend of Cyber Cowboy review is on the site.
Oh, that was fast.
Highway Police Simulator is a game Sean reviewed for us, and Scott's personal top 10 list from 2024 is available. I swear, mine should be up there sometime in January. I assume Alyssa's as well.
Yes, at some point.
Is that a thing we were doing? Did I miss that memo?
I mean, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want.
No,
You're your own man.
Yep.
that's not true. I'm just
It's really-
and the gaming outsider.
Yeah, can't be denied.
It's really funny reading through that list because that gives me crap every year that like in December I like catch up on all my reviews.
I'll give
And
you crap. I mean, it's just a pattern. That's all.
Scott.
All right.
Scott.
Who tears it up, dude?
Scott's
is less.
personal favorite games.
This is less than usual. I feel like sometimes he waits and just knocks out like 10, 12 reviews in December.
But I got time, man.
Yeah,
You know?
I get it.
Thankfully, I actually played a lot of games this Christmas break, as we talked about last week. So,
Very nice. I'm happy to hear that.
all right, well, let's go ahead and jump into this week's From the Outside In topic. All right, that's gonna take some getting used to, man.
You know, I used to hear that music in my head when we would record, and now it's just actually there.
Yeah,
Well, as far as you know.
awesome. Well, it is that time of year where we resolve to do better than we did in the previous year. That's what New Year's is all about, right? We'll take a look back and see how we did with last year's resolutions. Jacob didn't have any because he wasn't recording a podcast with us next year, but Zach, Alyssa, and I will look back at how we did, and then all four of us have put together some lists of things that we would like to do a bit better. So we're going to start with you, Alyssa.
Okay.
How did you do this year?
I did pretty well, I think.
Oh yeah.
What did you resolve last year?
That's crazy.
What did I succeed with?
Well, I mean, tell us what your resolutions were.
Okay, so my resolutions were to watch 250 films.
Did you do that?
I watched 263. So yes.
right.
Oh,
That's one.
nice.
Read at least 10 novels. I read 21, which 20 were actually in the span of like 2 to 3 months. So
Wow, so you want to
that.
put a tear there in those months.
try to find more joy in life. I mean, K-dramas brought me joy, but I did not have a lot of joy, and I suffered some trauma after I had some surgery, so I did not succeed in that one that well.
I'll pour one out for the K-dramas.
They were my saving grace.
Yeah.
Play more than 8 games on PlayStation. Sadly, I only played 7, so
Oh
failed
my
on that
God.
one.
Just
Brutal.
barely missed it.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
Yeah,
Play a Mario and Zelda game this year. I did not have to complete them if they weren't for me. I did half of this. I played Super Mario Wonder for an hour and just wasn't feeling it, but did not play a Zelda game. So
So you got
That's-
2.5 points.
yeah, and then
they're points now.
the
Just
last
like New Year's.
New Year's competition, I guess.
the last one was write more reviews for the site, which I wrote the most I ever have for the site this year. I wrote 28 reviews, so I succeeded on that one as well.
So 3.5
Wow.
points. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wrote the least reviews I ever did in a year here. So
Well, I mean,
What's
Red
up?
Dead Redemption's not going to replay itself.
I couldn't agree more, man. So glad we're on the same page.
What about you, Zach? How'd you do?
I think, let's see. I don't know. I did okay. No, I guess I did mostly whatever. Play through the Desmond Miles saga of the Assassin's Creed games. I did not do that. I didn't touch a single other Assassin's Creed game this year, which is a little surprising because I was kind of riding a little hot off of AC2 at the end of last year, after 2023,
Yeah.
and I was getting ready to play some more, but I sure didn't.
Yeah.
Focus on exploring more films from cinema history. This I definitely did. I was doing a little numbers, and of the movies I watched this year, 90% of them were from 2000 or from before the millennium. So
Sure.
they're definitely old movies. The 60s was my biggest decade. Fun fact.
Oh,
Nice.
Care less about superheroes as they bring me more pain than joy these days. I succeeded with flying colors on this one. I read less superhero comics now, really get more into indies. And I don't think I've watched any of the new superhero stuff this year. I haven't even watched the Penguin yet.
I hear that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
Mhm.
great. You know,
Yeah.
I definitely want to check it out. The Batman is a phenomenal movie.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's that. And then the last one was Write a Piece of Fiction, which I failed at, and I'm kind of angry at myself for that one.
Mm.
That was unfortunate, but you know, it may influence my resolutions to come.
There
So I
you
guess
go.
so. What was it, a half and half, 50%? You know, it's a
Hey.
decent batting average. You know,
Way better
Yeah.
than I did. Way
that's
better
good.
than
Yeah,
I did quite poor this year.
I'm just. I would just want to say, I'm really happy with the superhero thing because I feel like it's freed up my mind to do a lot of other things, which is nice.
Well, that's good for you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
My reviews, I broke them down into gaming ones and personal ones. Gaming, I said, this is weird. Don't review a game each month until I've beaten a game for me. So, like, I had to beat an old game before I played a new one.
Okay.
So I was going to do 6 games, 6 new old games and 6 old games.
So like 6 games you missed and 6 replays.
Right.
Okay.
And I did not keep track of that at all. But I think it's safe to say I didn't do that considering how many new games I actually did review. So I'm not going to give myself any credit on that one. This one is an epic fail. I said, now that my collection is complete, speaking about my NES collection, I want to physically test and clean all of them to make sure that they work. Would you like to guess how many games I cleaned and tested in 2024?
Or
Is it 0?
Zero.
It's a round number.
Yeah. 0.
I did none. I did
Out of 757.
757. I did none.
Good job.
And played with the community at least once per week. Didn't happen every week, but I feel like I played with Paul and Kevin at least every other week.
I feel like we could give that one to you. Right? Because whether it was Baldur's Gate or you guys were playing or Gears of War with someone else, you know.
I did it a lot, but there's no way it was every week.
But I feel like there had to have been 52 sessions, right? Or do you think I'm giving you too much credit?
I think you're giving me too much credit. Yeah.
Well, if we count Baldur's Gate, that's like 6 hours a week. I think that kind of, I don't know.
6?
I think you did well on this resolution.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
he gets like an hour and a half of Baldur's Gate time.
Well, I think the spirit of it. What are you talking? Hour and a half of Baldur's Gate time. It's literally 5 or 6 hours straight sitting down here on the couch.
He gets up at like 5, and then
Mhm.
he's on the road by 6. He's out the door.
It's whenever Kevin is done taking care of his dogs. We're supposed to start at 6, and it's usually like 6:30. So, but that gives me time to make coffee. But anyway, for personal goals, I said I wanted to finish recording the audiobook that I've been assigned. Did not finish it, but I got a third of the way through the book.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this cold I've got, whatever I've got going on in my chest and my throat is keeping me. I'm barely able to hold it together right now in a podcast, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I have had about 16 cough drops since we started this episode.
We've noticed.
I am a third of the way through that. I'm really eager to get that done, to have that done under my belt. So I wanted to have a 1-year streak in Duolingo for Spanish, which I did do that.
Yay.
Yeah, I bet.
And you
Bueno,
know, yeah,
muy bueno.
And just to give myself a little pat on the back, I'm not just doing like one lesson and then like I got my one lesson for the day. I'm completing all of the dailies. I'm in the Diamond League right now.
Wow.
I've won
He's
the
tooting
Diamond
his own
League.
horn.
Dude, it's hard, man. It's
Yeah.
It
difficult.
is hard.
Yeah, well, I can deflate his horn a little bit. I actually utilize Duolingo in practice in a foreign country.
Nice.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
What did you say?
I said konnichiwa.
I
Say
mean,
it.
What do you no? What do you mean? What did I say?
I mean,
Where's the bathroom?
Yeah, like I was able to like ask where things were, or like
oh, I thought you were saying that's all you used was konnichiwa. I mean,
no, I was like
Konnichiwa.
whip it out, like
Arigato gozaimasu.
yeah, a lot of that. They love that over
Whipping
there.
it out.
what does that mean?
But like I was trying to find a
Thank
Harry
you.
Potter book in the store for my wife, and I was like, Harry Potter wa doko desu ka?
Where is Harry Potter?
Right? See, she knows.
Yeah,
it
I'm
was-
taking
it was-
Japanese lessons too.
It was quite helpful.
Cool, man.
Anyway,
I have
Spanish.
not used it in practice. Although,
Hola.
like, I have noticed that when I watch a film
Okay.
that has Spanish in it, I can't translate it, but I know a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
Or if you hear like what a certain word, you're like, I know that word.
Yeah, it's fun,
Yeah.
right? It's so
Yeah.
rewarding. Do you
It is.
do you go to Mexican restaurants and just kind of like slink in there? You're like, I'm one of you guys. It's no
No,
big deal.
not at all. I'm not.
I
I'm
need
not gonna.
the-
I'm not gonna claim that, even if I were doing that.
I need the other menu.
Uno
Thank you.
burrito, por favor.
Yeah. I had another goal to get a new job in 2024, which I did. Not sure if it was the right move, but
Are you supposed to regret a resolution? I don't know.
oh my goodness, guys, 8th graders suck.
I know. I was an 8th grader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my last one was no phone while playing games for up to 2 hours every session. I did not keep track of this at all. I completely forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. When I just sit down, I don't want to like think about something I have to do, even though when something I have to do is something I'm not supposed to do. I just legitimately never thought about it. But I probably would have got further in games if I had, but got a podcast to run. What am I going to say?
Oh,
So clearly Alyssa won this year's resolutions, right? She
Boo.
did.
So it feels weird that you're heading into a competition.
I mean,
But
maybe,
you were the
you know,
you were the best at bettering yourself.
Right. I
Yeah.
Yay.
mean, if there was a winner, it was Alyssa.
yes.
The
Well, let's
rest
look
of us
on
are-
to 2025, and Jacob, you can actually participate this time. Yay!
My resolution was to join a podcast, and that was the worst mistake of my life.
Oh,
Oh,
my
no.
goodness!
And here I am.
But he got 100% of his resolutions figured
Right.
out. So that's pretty cool.
Well, Zach, let's start with you, man. What do you resolve to do in 2025?
Oh man. So gaming related, I wrote prioritize the backlog. And what I mean by this is, sometimes there's kind of those windows when new games are coming out, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, yeah, I could squeeze this in. I would like to, instead of trying to play like AI Limit, the new Souls like, instead look at that and be like, you know what a great opportunity to play Lies of P finally. Instead of playing the new Souls. Like, I'm sure this will get me fired from Scott.
No, dude.
Not keeping up with new releases, but there's such a huge list of games I missed out on that I'm just, I feel like I'm almost haunted by them, So instead of playing a game I'm only mildly interested in because it's new, I'd rather use those kind of gaps to play something I missed out on.
I'm very much in the same boat. I had a massive number of releases like Alyssa did this year, and it just kind of burnt me out.
Yeah.
I want to play games for fun again. So I feel you.
And then I also want to buy less games just because they're on sale.
That is not on my list.
That's a tough one. It's so hard,
It is tough.
right?
Especially on Steam.
Yeah, when Steam sends you that email, hey, check it out, it's 90%
Yeah.
off. You're
It's
like,
like, how do I resist?
it'd be stupid not to buy this. And then you get a Steam Deck halfway through the year and you already have 100 games for it. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What just
Yeah.
happened? Because either the most you're ever paying is like $5,
Yeah.
but now you have just a backlog that is insurmountable.
Did you ever play any of the Star Wars games in that bundle we bought?
Not a single one.
Me either. And
I
there was like
did-
20 Star Wars games in that bundle.
Yeah, I think there was 14, but I downloaded the KOTOR 2 mod to fix the game or whatever. So I booted that up for about 4 minutes to make sure that was running.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's kind of like playing one, right?
Downloading it? No, that's not playing it.
Down- Hey, I had to open it up to make sure the mod was running. And then this one is kind of assigning myself a little bit of homework, and I don't know how well I'll do, but because I started 2 insanely long franchises in Yakuza and the Trails series, I would like to play 2 Yakuza games and 2 Trails games,
Nice.
just to try to keep pace with it.
2
Although-
Yakuza games and 2 Trails games.
Yeah, because
You only got what, 7 more to go or something like that?
Right. Yeah. Well, the Yakuza feels like they put out 4 games a year, so I don't know
Yeah.
how I'll ever catch up.
Yeah.
But Trails at least seems possible. But the next arc is 4 games, which is a little excessive.
How long are those games?
The Trails are like 40, 50 hours each.
Wow.
Yeah. I know the early Yakuza games are fairly surmountable, like 20-ish hours. So I feel like that's possible. But yeah, the Trails games. And they're mostly reading.
Oh, yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
The words.
That's gonna slow you down.
What's really going to slow me down is the next 2 aren't available on Switch, so I'm going to have to play it at home.
What are they on?
They're like a PlayStation Vita. They're Vita, but the next games are Cold Steel, and Cold Steel 3 and 4 are on Switch, but Cold Steel 1 and 2 are not.
Oh, I see.
They are on Steam Deck, but I've heard it's kind of like mixed performance results. But anyway,
All right.
away from video game stuff. You funneling the anger at myself for not writing a single piece of fiction. I've decided instead to channel that into doing something. So I'm going to write 2 pieces of fiction this year.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make up for it. You hear me? One way or the other. I wrote like 2 chapters of a short story in the past year. That's inexcusable. I can do more than that. That's nothing. Used to have a whole podcast about writing fiction. You know?
I miss that show, man.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to smirkpodcast.com. And then the last one for my personal list is Ride a Horse.
Oh,
Yeah. Gotta
Save
get
the
that.
cowboy.
You beat me to it. I was trying to think of a funnier way to bring that in
No.
there.
No. Right. Scott wrote Ride a Save on the.
I
on the
was,
pod.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I'll ride the cowboy too. That's fine.
You've never ridden the horse?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Have you, Scott?
I have, yeah.
Oh, wow, very cool.
I have
also
not. I attempted, but the horse was not happy, so
Which
I
is
didn't
weird.
risk it.
I feel like it would barely notice you're there.
I was heavier back then.
Had them thick thighs.
All right, Alyssa, what are you going to do in 2025?
Well, gaming wise,
400 movies. Oh,
One movie a day.
gaming wise, I want to play half of the games I got for Christmas, which they're all lengthy games, and I got 5, so 2.5. Play 2.5. I want to try some more Metroidvanias, I know, Zach. I know.
It's
Pure
okay.
games.
We'll give you a pass.
If there are any that are in the style of Shadow Complex, please let me know because I love that game.
Ooh, Kong Survivor Instinct.
That
Right,
one
that'd-
piqued my interest when I read your review of it.
Yeah, that might be the closest to Shadow Complex in terms of feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll
Or-
go cheap on sale on Steam and I can play it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Scott, is Iconoclast your getting game?
It is. I
Yeah.
feel like that one is, that wasn't easy. Was it?
Yeah, but it was kind of straightforward in the exploration. I don't know. I think Alyssa would really get into the story of Iconoclast.
That story is really...
I do own it. I
really
bought
good.
it for cheap. I think I got it for $3 on Steam during a sale.
I get it because you can't say no. I understand.
Yeah. I also want to write at least 20 reviews for the site.
Okay.
So stepping down from 28, but still a good solid number of reviews.
Well, I hope you blow that number out of the water.
I hope I do too.
See, my problem is that if I see Alyssa has more than me, I struggle.
You can't sleep at night
But
unless you
you
have the most
beat me
reviews.
this year, though.
I did only because of my mad dash in December.
Right. I think
I
that's
mean,
how you beat her last year or the year before as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That December dash, man.
Mhm.
So watch out. You know what you should do, Alyssa? You should save like 19 of those reviews for December, because then he's gonna rest on his laurels, and you can just smash him out of there.
I love how everything is a cowboy metaphor with Zach.
What are you talking about?
Rest on your laurels.
How's that a cow? That's people say that.
No.
That's a common phrase.
To who?
Yeah,
I guess.
in 1885.
All right. I stand corrected.
No, it is a common phrase, but it still is a riding a horse phrase.
All right, fair enough.
Rest your laurels here.
Yeehaw.
Anyway,
I'll make sure to whip that one out when I'm riding a horse.
excuse
So
me while I whip this out.
Yeah. So what was it?
Whoa.
The last time, Alyssa, you had the cowboy vampire therapist. Whatever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
vampire.
I have told so many people about that game, and not even because like, oh yeah, go play this game. I keep bringing up the yeehaw. I've said it so much it's stuck in my head, and every now and then it just pops in and I giggle.
Personal goals, I only have two. One is read at least 20 novels this year. I figure since I read 21 last year, I can do it this year.
Oh man. Well, apparently you're playing less games for the site, so you might be able to. I just like 20 is so many, man.
I was gonna say you're gonna run out.
You think that, but then, the year I had last year sucked.
Yeah.
So I read 20 in 2 to 3 months. So.
All right. Best of luck.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying best of luck. Good luck.
Oh, thank you. And my other goal is a more major goal, and is take better care of my physical and mental health, because again, last year I had surgery and then that traumatized me. I've lost a lot of weight and it's taken a toll on my mental health. So I want to get back to kind of where I was at pre-surgery, maybe not the weight I was, but I do need to gain weight, and I want to get back to a good, healthy mental space, because I'm not there yet, and it's taking a toll on me. So I definitely have to prioritize those this year. So that's my resolutions.
Well, let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Thank you.
I'm not an expert, but I'm here for you if you need anything.
Thank you.
Jacob, finally get to hear your resolutions, man.
So obviously after when Monster Hunter goes away, probably around like June or September, I would like to try different or newer games. I play a lot of games, but a lot of the games that I try are in the same genre, and it's the
Not
genre
card
I
games?
like. And I do card games and stuff. It's weird. Like I can't wait for Slay the Spire 2 to come out. That seems very exciting. I know that's not exactly the same kind of card game that Balatro is, but I'm still excited. But I stay relatively around the same genre, the same kind of looty, buildy, crafty kind of games, or completely weird shop sims or idle games. I don't know. It's weird. I have this weird fascination of like watching paint dry. But either way, I want to try to get out of that and start playing more diverse games. I think it would, because I used to play a lot of diverse games when I was younger, and then as I got older, I just became snobby and only started playing the games that I like. So I keep going back to the same old games, and I think I should change that up.
I'm doing the opposite. I want to go back and play older games.
Well, I'm so used to playing the games that I know and love, or staying in the same genre that I know that I'm going to like the game, or whatever.
Comfort zone.
Yeah. It's just easy for me to jump into another game that has the exact same formula as the one I was playing, and so getting out of that and maybe playing a story-driven game or something that might be nice for a change.
Cool.
My other one is do more reviews, because I think I did. I'm up there next to you guys. I think I did like 3. So I could probably do more, because the Gaming Outsider isn't just a hobby for me. I really love you guys. I love doing stuff for the show. I love doing stuff for the R2V2 and stuff, and it just feels like I need to contribute more. And then personally,
I'm not gonna say no to that.
Thanks, Scott. And the Gaming Outsider over here. And on a personal note, it has been 5 years since I've worked out regularly,
Mhm.
and it shows. In high school, I was asked by the coaches and stuff to join the cross country team. Even though I was a bigger character, I did run several miles a day. I did work out regularly. I was in pretty decent shape for being a heavier set guy, and that pretty much died when I met my wife. And then she started feeding me really good. And in the last 10 years, I've put on, I think, 150 pounds.
She's a really
so-
good cook.
Oh, so she likes her men plump, apparently.
And she bakes, which is the hardest part because I can't
Yeah.
put any the you guys didn't get any of the Christmas cookies, Scott, for our D&D group, but she made some, instead of chocolate chip cookies, she made butterscotch cookies,
Yes.
and I ate like 7.
Jesus.
I ate all of them. Like,
I love the
I
chocolate
was
chip cookies where you make them with white chocolate chips instead of
yes, but I had made a comment about the butterscotch, and she goes, "Oh, I'll see what I can do." And then she, I walked out of her room one day, and she just had trays of this
Yeah,
butterscotch.
it's real hard.
chocolate
You
chip.
take these chips and put them to the side, and you get this different bag of chips and use those instead.
Oh yeah. But it was finding the chips and seeing if they, whatever. And
She
'cause
loves you.
we have a child in the house that's extremely allergic to nuts,
Ah,
and so finding ingredients that she can actually bake with, because even just baking, if that stuff gets into the air, he has breathing problems. So
Right.
it's weird. But yeah, so she found them. I ate them. I probably gained 20 pounds this Christmas. But I'd like to get back into running. I bought a treadmill 4 years ago, and let me tell you how much I've used that treadmill in the last 4 years.
is it a round number?
It's
Yeah.
a real round number. It is a glorified shelf right now. And so
Could I interest you in racquetball?
yes, I've thought about your proposition a few times.
I
But
would love to have a regular racquetball partner because it's
really-
getting hard to find one.
can't you just like switch hands? Use 2 rackets, just one on each side.
What am I,
No?
the dude from Force Unleashed?
Play by yourself, Scott.
I can't remember his character's name. What's that character's name, Zach?
Well, I mean, Star Killer is his
Star Killer.
Yeah. But yeah,
In all seriousness,
working out
man,
as a period.
get a membership at the Y. Let's play some racquetball or lift together and stuff. And it's easier to do that kind of stuff when you have someone to motivate you and keep you on track, as opposed to like, well, nobody's going and nobody's gonna know if I don't go.
I don't know. With me, it was never a motivation problem because in my early 20s, I had this. I worked construction, and when it was just me and the owner, and he would take me out on job sites and stuff. And when we weren't doing anything, I would just be randomly doing push-ups or lifting things or whatever. And he was always asking me like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?" or whatever. And it was just this constant urge for me to be either moving or doing something or working out or whatever. And then as I got older, I got a little bit more complacent. So things
Hey, man.
happen.
Let's do it. I'll move on to mine because mine is adjacent to yours when I get to my personal. I'll start with my personal ones. I want to get my weight down to 200 by summer. I've reached 220.
No.
What are you laughing at?
But my goal is also to get my weight down to the 200 mark, somewhere around in there. But I have 130 pounds to lose.
Gotcha. Let's do it, man. It's I've lost 2 already, so
There you go.
I went to the bathroom earlier and I lost 5. So
I started the diet regimen like first day going back to work. I'm making like jar salads. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that like I could just have I'm doing a salad with like just straight spinach, not like iceberg lettuce or anything.
Okay.
I'm making smoothies in the morning with spinach and bananas and fruit and oat milk and all that good stuff. So, yeah,
You didn't have a face that said it was good stuff.
Right.
well, I mean, most people hear spinach and they think gross. It like when you have it with a salad, it's not gross.
No.
But the idea of chopping up, spinach and putting it in a smoothie, you don't taste it, but it just looks gross.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, and I put egg whites in there too.
Oh, all right. Trying to be a little Rocky action.
egg whites and protein powder. Actually, it's all in there. So,
Hmm.
I also want to get another yearly streak on Duolingo. I'm rocking that, and I want to. I didn't put this on my list as far as a goal, but I would like to, because this isn't really quantifiable or measurable. But I want to get out there and like actually try to do something with it. Like maybe go out and meet people that are also learners and try to have conversations with people. Because you guys have been doing the app for as long as I have. Like,
Mhm.
it gets pretty easy to pick and choose which letters go in, which order, or which words go in which order and stuff. You can kind of figure it out. I don't know how it works for the languages you guys are doing, but I know that there's always going to be 4 leftover words. Oh, there's 5. That means I got to stick this one word in somewhere. So,
you've noticed the patterns, have you?
Yes, I've started noticing the patterns, and I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. So I really want to kind of do that in practice. Maybe start watching older movies with Spanish subtitles.
Can't you
so
just
that, like,
change every movie to Spanish only?
I can, but the problem is that if I don't know it already, I'm talking about watching movies that I have memorized. You know what I mean? So I know what they're saying.
Listen to it in Spanish with English subtitles.
Yeah, I could do that too, but then I also want to like sometimes just sit and enjoy a movie. I don't want to make it a job every time I watch a movie, and plus I watch some stuff with my wife, and she's not going to want to watch it in Spanish subtitles.
But the point of the exercise, you have to go out of your way to do this. This wouldn't be a sit down and enjoyment thing. Like, this is an exercise you're trying to do.
It's a 2-hour exercise, man.
You don't have to do it for the entire 2 hours. The roll credits and you'd speak reading the credits in Spanish.
I'm also pulling a Zack and doing what he did. He said he didn't complete his one piece of fiction, and so he's going to do 2. I did not complete my one audiobook, so I am going to complete 2 in 2025.
That's ambitious.
I want to finish the one I'm working on, and then Kevin and I have been talking about another project. I can't really say what it is because it's one of those deals where we're going to do it and then present it to the author and see what they say.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ballsy.
I have an idea.
I think Jacob might know what that is, actually. Actually, I told Zach about it too. So I don't want to say what it is just in case. I don't know if I can get in trouble doing that, but
yeah,
You could probably,
I wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
yeah. As for gaming, I said I actually want to keep track of every game I play, new or old, this year. I feel like when I got to Game of the Year discussion, I relied too much just on my list of games I actually reviewed, but I actually played a lot more games than that. I miss Rack and Slay on my top 10. That would have made my top 10 if I had remembered that game, because that game is awesome. And I think it's just a fun thing to look at. Like, I wish there was is there like a letterboxed app for video games?
I don't know of any. There could be.
I think the closest is Backlogged, but they don't have an app yet. It's just a website.
Just a website.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
could
you
still
can make a
access it.
spreadsheet.
Well, yeah, I could, but it would be easier to have an app I could just go to.
I just use my notes app every year.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, I could do that as well.
So
Also-
this is the year that you're gonna take down every game and clean and play them, right?
I
So
did
when you
not
come-
put that on there. Did you notice
So
that?
when you come back next year and go, oh yeah, I kept a list of all the games I played. It's 800 games long.
I already have the list. Also, obviously, this is going to be the year of JRPGs for Scott Clark, apparently.
Right.
I
You
got
set
that-
yourself up.
I know.
11 JRPGs.
I got that Final Fantasy Pixel Collection for Christmas, and when I first got it, I was like, that's it. That's going to be my New Year's goal. I'm going to play all 6 Final Fantasy games. And I'm like, that's not going to happen.
Well, I think the first few are pretty short though, right? I think you can beat the first Final Fantasy in like 10 hours.
If you know what you're doing, and I don't.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean,
Plus-
I don't know either.
I was talking to Brandon Smith today because I was asking him for some recommendations on what build to use, because you can pick which characters you have at the beginning. It's not like set characters like in future Final Fantasy games. And so he straight up gave me a build for Final Fantasy Renaissance. You know what I mean? Like, well, of course this is what you're going to do. And I was like, well, I was going to play it on the Pixel remake. He's like, no, dude, you can play. Apparently you can play it on Steam Deck. I didn't know that I could play it on Steam Deck. So
Oh, okay.
he gave me a build to do on that is like the quote easier path to go. So
he wasn't taking a no for an answer. He wants you to
pretty
play
much,
Renaissance.
pretty
Yeah.
much. So I feel
You gotta
compelled
play
to
yourself.
do Renaissance, and maybe I'll start another one. Maybe I'll go back and finish 6. like kind of work my way towards the middle.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because they're not like you don't have to play them in order.
No, yeah, of course not. I mean, unless you just want to see how the mechanics evolve over time. But
That you're right. That maybe. I mean, I played 6 though, so I
I
kind
say
of
we're so deep in Final Fantasy at this point.
Yeah.
We all know.
And then my other one is I want to complete at least one other JRPG, whether that be Refantasia. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Chrono Cross, or
Okay.
what
So
were
like
the
one
ones for-
one other like old like not a new 2025 JRPG, I suppose.
correct. Like what was the one?
Mega Man
CS
Excavation.
Actually, I've never played that.
Dude, that looks so. I've never played it either, man. It always looks so cool.
I know it did, but I don't think it reviewed well, did it?
I don't care.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
maybe that's why
Well,
I
I
didn't play
played
it. Sea of Stars would be a good one. There was another one. I interviewed the developer, and I can't remember the name of the game.
You didn't play Sea of Stars?
I played a little bit. Remember,
Oh.
I got it, and I would have to start all over. I have no idea how to
Yeah.
play that game, but I remember that one not being too difficult. Like it didn't. Does it get much harder?
I don't remember it being that difficult.
Okay.
But they did a huge like repatch of the game, and it's supposed to be a little more difficult now because
Oh, okay.
most people walked away thinking it was too easy.
Oh, well, I don't mind a little bit of a challenge. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm scared to go into Final Fantasy, like the original. It
Yes,
just
understandable. Yeah.
like those early JRPGs did not hold your hand. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I've literally been like reading like guides and builds and like trying to psych myself up to do it because I'm just scared to death of doing it, man. But so that is our resolutions for the year. I guess we'll have to wait till next year to see how well we did. But our listeners had some things to weigh in over on Discord. Mark Szymanski said his first goal is 3 servings of veggies per day. 2, go to Planet Fitness a minimum 4 times per week. 3, finish my learning by the end of March. I think he's learning for a new career, actually.
Huh.
4, less sports on TV so that I can spend more time with hobbies that I enjoy more, like video games. And 5, 1 brand new game played per month. I don't foresee that one being a problem for Mark.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Alyssa, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Drew Ross says, mine is always the same every year. Play more of my backlog.
Well, may this year be the year, Drew.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure that backlog gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
I
I never realize how big my backlog is until I have someone over and they scroll through my library and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like what?
And you've played it 15% of them.
Yeah, exactly. And thank God that number's not there.
Yeah.
Zach, you want to take over?
Sure. Tim Paulin writes in, maintain a healthy lifestyle, work less, and play more. All easier said than done. He also said, buy new games. I made it the entire year not buying anything except EA College Football. I have at least 5 must-buys for 2024. That's crazy. He said, but I knocked 18 games off my backlog last year. Let's try for 2020 or 22 in 2025. There we go.
18 games off his backlog. So he didn't buy any new games. He just played. I mean, that's like the economical way to be a gamer, right? Just like,
dude, I mean, it's such a cheap hobby if you're patient.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like, why did I buy Fantasio like now? Like, it's going to be $20 in like 6 months, right?
Yeah, no, but you couldn't say no, right? I understand.
Well, it's buy 2, get 1, man. Like,
so it'd be crazy not to get it.
I know. It's like I'm losing money.
Right? Practically. Yeah, but when you wait, like I got like the copy of Kingdom Come I got, it was digital with all the DLC, $5. That's insane.
Yeah.
And I got 70 hours out of it. Like, so if you're a patient gamer, dude, oh my God, you can clean up out there.
And if you're like open to different, you're not pigeonholed into one style of game or something.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Thanks, Scott.
I didn't mean for that to be a dig on you, but I'll take
it. Tim continues, this is a big one. Go on an actual vacation. Usually I spend my PTO doing home improvements. We haven't been on an actual vacation since January 2020 before the world blew up. Tim, you owe yourself a vacation.
Right.
And he leads off with, as always, thanks for the show and great community. Hope to see you this year in Rockford.
Oh, dude, it'd be great.
Maybe that'll be his vacation.
Yeah. I got to meet Tim in Milwaukee at Midwest Gaming Classic a few years ago. But I would love to see him come down to Rockford for sure. Jake.
All right. Kevin, the baldest mofo on the planet. Honenberg. I don't really do resolutions. Nobody knows this, but Zach misread it earlier, and so I was just adding to the joke.
Yeah, you missed the
Yeah.
pre-show. Kevin, our producer, was walking us through some stuff, and I misread his StreamYard name as the baldest mofo on the planet. So, and I was like, it's true, you really are. And I
mean, you can't get much balder.
Yeah, I felt bad. I felt really bad.
It's so good. He's a good guy. Anyway, Kevin writes, I don't really do resolutions anymore, but I might make an exception this year just because of last year. Last year was abysmal where gaming was concerned for me. I don't think I played more than 5 different games all year. Don't get me wrong, the time I spent playing those 5 games was such a great time, but normally I'm all over with trying new games. My resolution for 2025 is to play at least 2 new games each month. One has to be a bigger release. The other one can be anything, no matter how obscure. I have to at least play each long enough to give a chance to grab me. I've already completed January's task.
Nice.
So that's good for him. 2 games should be relatively easy, no matter how obscure. I'll give him Leaf Blowing Simulator, and we'll see how long he can play that game. But yeah, no, it shouldn't be that hard.
Is it sad? I saw that trailer and I was like, oh my god, what
that's the new one. There was an older one.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
I'm glad they revisited the illustrious leaf blowing simulator franchise.
Is it you're talking about like this like really cool feelings? Like rolling credits on a game is just, it feels like such a sense of accomplishment. Do you feel like you're ever playing the game? Like, are we chasing the credits or are we just like absorbing the experience?
Well, I'm absorbing the experience. I play like 700 hours of a game, and if I roll credits, I still play like another 30 hours past that.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm like get to credits and move on to the next one, because there's 2 favorite parts of a game for me. It's the very first hour, and it's that last half hour.
All right,
you know what I mean? I'm not saying I don't like
slog.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like I feel like I got to get out of the mentality where, it's not a slog. I mean, I'm actually enjoying it, or like, I gotta go finish this game. Like, I think that was my problem with this year. Is I was like, I gotta go play that game to put a review on the website. Meanwhile, all these other things I want to play, I'm putting on the back burner.
I want you to know that I played Skyrim as probably religiously as I play other games now, and I played it for 400 hours before I went, I feel like I've run out of things to do. So yeah.
So I'm going to be playing that one for a while, you're saying. You play games like that meticulously, though.
Yes.
Enjoy the experience.
Like in every corner. And some I'll look back at like YouTube now and still find some of those who are like, 10 things that you didn't know about this game. And there are some things about Skyrim that I didn't know. And I've put multiple, like 2 characters at 400 hours each into that game. And there are still some things that they're like, oh yeah, you could do this. And I was like, what? That's dumb.
Your favorite playthrough of that game, what was your build like?
I like to play anti-magic, and so I play oh god, what is it called? I can't even think of what it's called now. But they have a resistance to magic as an innate ability, and then you can get other magic resistances later on in the game, whatever. So I try to buff my character out, but usually I play Argonian, which I mean they're just a cheap way to play because they breathe water, they're immune to poisons and diseases, and it's just whatever. But years ago in Morrowind, those were not the races that you wanted to take because you weren't able to wear all the armor in the game.
Gotcha. I focus very much on stealth and arrow or archery.
Yeah.
I like to be able to attack from the distance, and then I don't know what to do when they get up close, and I got this stupid sword that doesn't do anything, and the only magic I use is healing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm scared of a magic build in that game for some reason. I feel like it's just very complicated. I don't know.
It is harder to get into, but like the later levels, I guess nothing really ever changes, but you just start doing more damage, and at some point you start doing respectable damage.
Gotcha.
In the beginning, it's hard though.
Yeah. All right. Last comment comes from Paul Hine. He says, "I'm curious what your January checklist was." Well, we just went over it, so there you go, Paul. He says, number 1, better health, starting with better sleep, which is going to cut into prime gaming time.
Unacceptable. Paul, change this.
No, he lost. 2025, game over.
That's
No.
a big one for me, actually. I have an alarm that goes off on my watch every day that says, "Hey, it's bedtime," where you like start winding down. You need to be in bed trying to go to sleep in the next half hour.
Uh-huh.
And I've gotten good at doing that, but the problem is I struggle just laying in bed and falling asleep. I have to fall asleep watching something, like I did last night, and then I was up until 1:30 finishing a show that I wanted to watch. So, Paul goes on with number 2. I'm going to try and play a Final Fantasy game this year. I've never played more than half an hour of any suggestions on where to start?
9.
Yeah, that's going to be Zach's recommendation. Man, I would say 6. It'd be a good place to start, or Final Fantasy 3 in the US, but
8.
Let me talk to you, Paul. I may have a solution for you. I will talk to you.
Is it Final Fantasy Renaissance?
That'd be a great place to start.
I was going to say Scott's going to share his collection, then he's never going to have to play a Final Fantasy game again.
I think if you wanted something modern, FF7 Remake is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for something a little older, 9 or 6 are going to be pretty good options.
Yep. I mean, 7 is easy. I feel like that's going to be so many people's answer.
Right.
It's very accessible, but I feel like 6 has more of a, I don't know. There's something about pixels that just that feels Final Fantasy to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Paul's third one is stick with one game to the end before bouncing off to the next thing and never coming back to it. Looking at you, Star Wars Outlaws. That's another one I'd like to get back to as well.
Yeah, I feel you.
And one of these days, Jake will understand that people cannot hear nods or shaking of the heads on radio.
And maybe our third episode live, Scott will understand that people are watching and can see me.
But most people are going to be listening to the audio.
This also stays on YouTube, and some random person is probably going to come across it and be like, "Oh, look, he's shaking his head at that." I agree with him. Yeah, sure.
Oh my goodness!
With the 99% of people listening to the audio.
Well, that was fun, guys. I look forward to New Year's resolutions, even though I fail at them miserably. But I think I made myself a little bit more manageable this year. So the Final Fantasy.
You're not going to clean 700 video games?
Dude, it's so overwhelming just to look at that wall and go, like, it would seriously take me a month just to get through one row.
Yeah, I feel like you just got to do it letter by letter or something.
Yeah, that might be a way to do. Just go through actually it starts with numbers, right?
Yeah, you could do one letter / number a month, and slowly get through there.
Well, that would
it would take a couple years. Yeah,
I was gonna say that would be a couple of years. Yeah,
but that's more progress than none.
Maybe I should add that. Just get through the A, B, C.
No. Let's not get carried away.
Go get 7 consoles from CB, fire them all up, and then do a bunch of games at a time, and then just keep going through them.
That's a good idea. Yeah, he's got plenty of NESs lying around. I could do that. Sure. Next week, we have not decided what our topic is going to be, but stay tuned to social media: Facebook, Twitter, Discord, TikTok.
Yeah, that's a good point. By this time next week, right? We'll know.
I really have a big question mark as to what's going on there, but and hopefully we'll have a platform to be able to post those questions as videos, because that is a good time. So that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. The episodes are produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, any parting words or recommendations before we get out of here?
Yes, due to the Hollywood Outsider, our sister podcast, Awards of the Year episode, I checked out Silo because they would not stop talking about it on Apple TV.
That's next on my list.
And I've gotten through the first season already, me and the wife, and it's a pretty good show. It's very compelling. The characters are complex. It keeps doing this nice trick where a character that just seems like a background player suddenly becomes sort of important or very important, and it just kind of keeps it's fun. It's a fun watch. It's a good mystery in that show as well.
Cool. Alyssa?
Well, going to my Korean corner, I'm currently watching a K-drama called The Kidnapping Day, which it's on Prime Video if you want to watch it. It's about a man whose daughter has cancer, so him and his ex-wife come up with a plan to kidnap the daughter of the wealthiest family in, I think it's basically in Seoul, but things don't go to plan. And it's just really interesting so far, and I like the characters and everything, so I'm really excited to continue it.
Yeah, very cool. Jacob?
No, I don't think I have anything new this week.
All right. Well, I'll make up for it because I got two.
All right, let's hear him, man.
Mine is also an Apple recommendation, and this is what I stayed up late last night to finish. I watched the second season of Shrinking.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a very good show. I love Shrinking.
My God, did you watch the second season?
Yeah, I have not watched the season finale because I suspect it will make me cry. So I'm waiting for the right time.
So good. And there are some cameos that show up throughout the episode. One in particular, if you are a fan of another show that Jason Segel has done, it made me feel very uncomfortable. If you know what I'm talking about, Zach?
I assume the very flirty scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made me very uncomfortable watching those two characters flirt with one another. But no, seriously, that show, I didn't realize this until I was reading the credits. It's Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs.
Right.
The humor is very Scrubs, but without the slapstick. And
well, you're talking about the show creator, right?
Yes.
And then the other two show creators are Jason Segel, who's obviously the star, and then Roy Kent from Ted Lasso is the third creator of the show.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Who shockingly good actor, by the way.
Right.
I know him from Ted Lasso, and then I just kind of considered him to be a one-note thing, and he is definitely not.
Yes, I agree. I was surprised.
And Jason Segel can act.
You're right. Yeah.
There's one.
Ever since he cried naked in front of Kristen Bell, I knew he could act.
No, but that show is equally funny, dramatic. The humor is just laugh out loud funny in spots. I've guffawed more than once, and also damn near cried multiple times. Highly recommend it. The other one is a song recommendation. I'm apparently late to the party with this artist. My brother introduced me to him. His name is simply Ren, R-E-N. Have you guys heard of him?
No.
Unfortunately.
I introduced him to Jacob yesterday, I think it was. He's a British, I don't even know if I want to call him a rapper. I mean, he spits like Eminem, but he plays guitar while he's doing it. And if you're going to check out one song, it's the first one on all the lists. It's just called Hi Ren. It's him having an argument with the dark side of himself. And so it's him going back and forth like a Jekyll and Hyde type situation. The poetry is amazing. It's like an 8-minute song. And when it's done, I'm like, I need more. Like, it's just so good. And the whole thing ends with a monologue that just feels very uplifting because the song is very dark. But he's a phenomenal musician. And he's also one of those British guys that when he sings, he still sounds British.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how British guys, when they sing, they just sound American. No, he's clearly British while he's rapping or singing or whatever. And I listened to some of his other stuff, and it's very, very good. His poetry is amazing, and I'm really digging him. So R-E-N. I looked him up. I'm like, I can't wait to share this artist with my friends. He's got like 40 million listens on Spotify alone. Yeah. He gets a little.
Yeah, he's big elsewhere then, huh? Maybe if not
he's
here.
Starting to pick up steam here. Like I said, my brother introduced me to him in the summer, and I listened to the one song. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And I just like rediscovered him and just started going through the library, and he's just fantastic. So
I look forward to seeing his CGI monkey biopic.
Dude, I want to see that movie.
I don't know who that person is.
You know who Robbie Williams is?
No, never heard of him.
He was like a member of a boy band, like an NSYNC or a Backstreet Boys in the UK. and then he went off and went solo, and
He's
nobody thought he
British,
was going
right?
to be big. He's British, yes.
Yeah.
So
he's like a British Justin Timberlake.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But like insanely popular overseas, but hardly anybody knows who he is here. I mean, I'm sure you've heard a song of his. But yeah, like apparently that movie just flopped, and I'm part of the problem
Right.
because I wanted to see it. It's the same guy that did Greatest Showman, same director.
Uh-huh.
So I'm very intrigued, and I just think the concept is fantastic.
I mean, I appreciate trying to do something new with the biopic instead of the exact same,
formula
punches,
Yeah.
bullet points that we get it with all of them.
I'm gonna try to see it in the theater before it exits because I love musicals. So
Yeah.
anyway,
you better get to it, man. It doesn't look like it's gonna be there very long.
well, Aaron told me it flopped so hard. He's like, you don't have to worry, it's gonna come to VOD like in a month or something like that. So it apparently really did poorly, but unfortunate. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you to Alyssa, Zach, and Jacob for joining me. And I want to remind you guys one last time, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.